It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Athletes Unlimited professional lacrosse player Alyssa Parrella. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to play professionally lacrosse?
I think that during my 5th year at college, I was approached by my assistant coach who actually got to play in the league with me, and she kind of asked what my thoughts were. And I think that when you hear the opportunity to play professional lacrosse after college, it's like, of course, this is like everything for the sport right now. So I think right away when she said that, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm not sure how this is going to be or how I'm going to perform in it, but I would love to give it a try. And just from there, she really helped me feel more confident in joining the league. So from her and just from where I was in college and finishing off and thinking that this was going to be the end of it, just having that opportunity to play again and continue playing at the next level was something I couldn't say no to, and I'm really happy that I did it.
What was your collegiate experience like?
Playing at Hofstra was more than I could have ever asked for. Between the school itself and getting a really great education to the athletic department and everyone that I got to meet and become really close with, my teammates, coaches, just all of the student athletes that I got to be friends with. And that was the best part. And I think that, again, I couldn't have asked for anything more. It was the best experience. And I think being a player at Hofstra was the best choice I could have made for myself. And I think that anywhere else I would have went would have been great, but I'm just really happy where I picked, and being able to be in that environment and play Division I lacrosse. I mean, not many people get the opportunity to play Division I lacrosse, so having that opportunity to and stay close to home was really important to me.
What were some of your accomplishments at Hofstra?
Um, I would say I did have a great career at Hofstra. I'm really proud of my accomplishments. I think that some that happened was becoming the all-time leading goal scorer at Hofstra and in the CAA, which was something I'm really proud of and was able to accomplish because of my teammates. But something that really came in my 5th year was being one of the very few team programs at Hofstra to, like, lacrosse teams at Hofstra to make it to the NCAA tournament. The Hofstra Women's Lacrosse program has only been there really a few times. So being able to get into the NCAA tournament last year was a really unforgettable moment for us. And we got to play Loyola in the first round. So that was something that I felt was a really great team accomplishment. Unfortunately, we never got to win a conference championship, which I really wish we had. But again, every team, all the teammates I've met and have been able to play with at Hofstra, I couldn't have asked for anything more.
What was it like, obviously, going to the NCAA tournament and playing in the NCAA tournament?
Oh my God, it was such a cool experience. Again, not ever being in that position before, it was something that when you're there, you just take in and really just have to enjoy every moment of it. Not only did we get to play Loyola, who was an insanely great team, and we played really well that game, just unfortunately came up short. We also got to play in the Dome at Syracuse, and that was a field I would never forget. I think that was the best way to end a career at Hofstra. Just the atmosphere of it, just having the fans there again, because we never were able to have them throughout the year, just having my parents there, my family watching. I couldn't have asked for a better way to end my career, even though it was a loss. So it was a really, really great moment.
What was it like putting on your collegiate jersey for the first time?
Nerve-wracking. Oh my God, I was terrified. I remember my freshman year, I was so scared. We played Bucknell and it was an away game. So that even was like more jitters. Like we traveled that day, it was away, and I was just so nervous. But just, it's a moment where you just take it all in again and you don't really think about it as something so great until you're never going to wear it again. And I'm never going to wear a Hofstra women's lacrosse jersey ever again. And I just wish every day I could put it back on because those were the best years. And I just wish I could play lacrosse at Hofstra forever, honestly.
What was it like going from college lacrosse to obviously going into professional lacrosse?
Yeah. It was nerve wracking, I would say. And it was just one of those moments that felt kind of surreal. I was able to step on the field that's with some of like the best lacrosse players ever, and ones that I've watched while I was growing up, ones that have made such an impact on the sport itself. It was just so surreal. So like humbling, I feel like also too. I think you step on the field and you talk to these girls off the field and you're just like, they're just like regular girls. They're regular people doing their everyday lives, and they're so easy to talk to and so relatable. But obviously there's such competitors and they're people that you look up to and have worked so hard to get where they were. And it's just a very inspiring moment. So I think that that was something that I felt like when I stepped on the field with them was just so amazing. So getting to play with girls that I've never played with before and only watched or played against, it was really cool playing with them.
What was it like the first time you got drafted into Athletes Unlimited and signed your contract?
Yeah, it was really cool. Just the overall experience was something I've never been a part of before. So it was really cool. I remember sitting on the couch with my dad was there and my brother actually. They were the only two home at the time. And I was like, okay, like I think this is what's going to happen. We put it on the TV and we just watched all the girls get drafted. And I just think like when my name came up, it was just again like a surreal feeling. I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like this is such like a different feeling. I never knew that I would be getting drafted to a professional lacrosse league. So it was really exciting. And I know my dad and my brother were really proud of me. My dad was so happy. So that was just something I was really happy to share with them and just be able to move on from college and like be able to play again.
What is it like each week getting drafted to new teams instead of staying with one team like you did in
Yeah.
Hofstra?
Yeah, I think going into it, it was a little bit like, oh, I'm not really sure how this is going to be. I guess like you get drafted to a team and you're like, you only have a week to kind of mesh. And I think at first I was kind of like, that's hard. If you know the game of lacrosse, it's so important to mesh with your team and just have good chemistry. And I think at first I was mostly just like, how are we going to get that chemistry with a week of practice? Barely a week of practice really, depending on like how your team practices that week, and just kind of like play 3 games on the weekend. Like how is everyone gonna mesh with each other? But honestly, it was the best way to be able to play with everyone, be able to play against everyone. I think that was something that I felt like was a game changer for Athletes Unlimited, is being able to be with this group of 58 or so girls and being able to play with and against every single one of them and not just be stuck on this one team. And although that's kind of how every other sport works, this is kind of a new way of looking at it. And I thought it was a really great way to just keep people involved in a different way. And kind of from the outside looking in, I know people and I've heard family members and friends say that it was a really cool concept that they love to watch. So, and being a part of it was really cool. So I liked it.
What was the feeling like of obviously getting drafted to different teams, and who were some of the people that you were like, oh my God, I'm now playing with them?
Yeah. I think that the draft itself, honestly, was pretty nerve wracking. I think that you sit there and you're watching the draft go on, and you're kind of like, oh, like where am I gonna be put? And although it never really mattered where you got drafted, it was just kind of like that initial feeling of just sitting there waiting for your name to be called. It did get a little nerve wracking after a while. Um, But I think that every team I was on had some difference. Obviously, had some difference to it because everyone was different and not everyone was the same. But I also just think that the overall aspect of it was just such a cool way of getting to know and play with everyone. And I think it was really cool, especially playing with girls who I've never really thought I would ever play with. For instance, like a Taylor Cummings or a Dempsey Arsenal or a Kenzie Kent, and those girls who like I never really thought I would put myself on the same field as, like Marie McCool, and like all of them were just such great people to play against and play with. But I think mostly Sam Puzo was obviously one person that I always watched growing up and like loved watching her, and being able to play on the same team as her was something I was really excited for. Unfortunately, we were only on the same team once. But if I could been on her team a million other times, I would. She's such a fun person to play with, but she's also just such a great leader by example. She was such a good person to talk to and get advice from. But then a lot of the older girls, such as that I never thought I would play with before, like Michelle Tumalo and Katie Hirsch, who played at Hofstra. That was such a great opportunity to have her on the same team as me. And then, oh my God, I could probably go on about all the girls that were on. They were all great. And then I talk about Amanda Johansson, who was my former assistant coach that I never got to play with during the league. She was like one of the only girls that I never got to play on the same team with, which was unfortunate because going against her is tough, but I would have loved to play with her. So honestly, the gist of it, I would have loved to play with every single girl if I could. So they were all so great.
Of course, as you talked about that, what is it like to have those players like Taylor Cummings, Lindsey Ronrack, who some of those players you didn't play in college against, and now you're playing with them instead of against, and vice versa, of those players that you played against in college that now you're playing with?
Yeah. Again, super surreal, but you also just get like a new perspective on their mindset. I think that being able to be on the same team as Taylor Cummings, Lindsey Ronbeck, Kayla Trainer, like these girls, you kind of like see how their brain works with the game of lacrosse. And it was so cool. I think at practice, I was on the same team as Kayla Trainer one week, and she was kind of just coming up with these different plays and different things. And I'm just like, I was sitting there and like, her brain works so insane with the game of lacrosse. She just knows so much. She can put together these plays and these concepts and just understands the game so well. And I guess just like standing there like in awe, I'm just kind of like, it's so cool being able to learn from them and kind of see how their brain works and the things that they do on the field and off the field. So that's something that I really learned from all of them. And at the end of it, they all just enjoy lacrosse so much. Of course, they're competitors. They take it seriously, but at the same time, all they want to do is just have fun and enjoy the process and have fun with everyone. And that was the biggest thing that I felt made teams so good during the weeks, was just having fun and enjoying it with your teammates. And everyone did that, and it was such a great experience.
Of course, what is it like to have those teammates that are coaches outside of obviously playing lacrosse help you into obviously becoming a better lacrosse player?
Yeah, I think that just kind of going to them as more of like a mentor or friend instead of like a coach was something that was a really cool experience. Obviously, there were no coaches there. I mean, like actually coaching our teams. Obviously, a lot of the girls who are playing in it are college coaches, which is cool. But just being able to be on the same team with these girls and them just kind of giving their advice, their thoughts. I mean, like there were so many times where I remember playing at practice or in a game and someone comes up to me, she's like, hey, like you're doing so great right now, like try this. And I just think that's something that as a lacrosse player you always want from other people. You always want to keep learning. Like no one's going to be perfect, no one's ever going to have a perfect game, no one's ever going to be perfect at the game of lacrosse. Everyone is always learning, and I think that's something that was really cool. We could all just learn from each other and gain experience and gain each other's get each other's advice and just take it with us. And I didn't think that's something like as a player I always like to do. I always loved getting feedback and kind of getting advice from girls, even my teammates. So it was really just a great experience. And yeah, they're really awesome to learn from. They're very smart lacrosse players. So it was awesome.
What is a typical game day like for you?
Very easygoing. I'm not really someone who goes like too crazy on game day. I kind of like to be very mellow, not think about it too much. I think I could be someone who, if I get too worked up and nervous, I'll just not play well. So I kind of just like to keep it calm, make sure I'm staying hydrated, eat a good meal. And then when I'm in the locker room, I like to dance and just be loose and just have a good time. But other than that, just kind of stay mellow. I'm not too much of a crazy, intense, like game day person. But when the game starts and the whistle blows, then that's when I really just stay focused.
Do you have any game day routines and rituals that you do to prepare for the game?
I would say in college I had a little bit more. I used to be super superstitious. Between like eating the same meal every day and every game day and making sure I have the same hair tie, I have the same socks, all this and that. So I think lately I've been kind of less on the superstitions because I felt like it would just stress me out more than it really helped me. Um, but I think this year it was mostly, and these game days were more just making sure I'm loose and staying hydrated and kind of just stuff like that. Nothing too strict in my game day schedule.
Of course, what is it like balancing obviously having a job outside of being a professional athlete?
Yeah. I mean, luckily I did not start work at the time. So I was kind of more freelance. I didn't have much to do during the weeks when I was there. But I did talk to a lot of girls who were working and did have a full-time job while they were doing the professional lacrosse league. And honestly, I think it's something that the league did so well for us. I think that obviously the sport of lacrosse, women's lacrosse professionally, isn't something you're able to do for a full-time job. But just having them give us the opportunity to play and enjoy the 5 weeks while we're there and still on top being able to work our jobs. It's something that you can always ask for, but they were able to give it to us and give us the opportunity to do that. So I think that the league did it so well. And it was such a positive thing. And I think they gave us that time for people to work and didn't overstress people to feel like they had to choose between a job or doing this. So again, we also had full-time moms there and people who also had kids and other lives outside of the game of lacrosse that just giving them the opportunity to still be themselves on the outside and be able to still play the game of lacrosse was really cool.
What are some of your future plans in your professional lacrosse career?
I always say I will play as long as my body lets me. I think that any opportunity to play, to do anything in the sport of lacrosse is something I'm willing to always leave open. I would love to continue playing for as long as possible. As long as my body will let me and I don't completely collapse because my body's too tired, I'll always keep my options open to stay in the sport of lacrosse. So,
What advice would you give college athletes looking to play college lacrosse?
I think my biggest advice is just don't put too much stress on the idea that you want to, how do I put this? I just think that don't put too much stress on yourself. The game of lacrosse, you started because you wanted to play for fun. You wanted to enjoy it. You do it because you love it. Don't lose sight on loving the game of lacrosse. Everyone has their different paths in lacrosse or in any sport. Don't feel like you have to follow someone else's path. Everyone's path is going to be different. So whichever direction you end up going, do it for yourself and do it because you love it. And I think that's something a lot of girls in high school, they put so much pressure on themselves. And I just think it's really important to stay level headed with it and just do it because you love it. Don't do it because you feel like you have to and because you have to be at the best college or at the best level or anything like that. Just do it because you love it.
What advice would you give those college players looking to go into professional lacrosse?
Yeah, I would say if lacrosse is still something you want to do and you can do physically, do it until you can't do it anymore. I think that it's super important to just continue doing what you love. And I think at the end of the day, you, again, like I said before, you started lacrosse because you love it. And if you still love it as much as you did before, continue doing it. And don't think that just because college is over that your time in lacrosse is over and your career is over. Keep playing as much as you can and just enjoy it and have fun.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Yeah, so I'm mainly on Instagram at Alyssa Parrella. That is my handle. And yeah, I think that's pretty much where I usually do all my social medias.
Thank you again, Alyssa Parrella, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with Athletes Unlimited Professionally Lacrosse.
Thank you so much, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Alyssa Parrella, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.